Good evening, and welcome to Friday Film Review for November 2020. I'm Chris Bell from the Smithtown Library. Whether you miss the weekly movie programs at the Smithtown Library or you just want to watch some good films, join us each month for reviews of recommended movies that you can enjoy at home on Fridays or any day you choose using the library streaming services Hoopla and Canopy. If you aren't already using Hoopla and Canopy, I will tell you how to access them from the Smithtown Library homepage at the end of the program. The first movie this month is The Rest of Us, which was released in 2019. This is the first feature film directed by Aisling Chin Lee, who is an award-winning producer, writer, and director. The Rest of Us stars Heather Graham, Jodie Balfour, and Sophie Nellis, who you may recognize from her role as Liesel in The Book Thief. In The Rest of Us, two mother-daughter duos must contend with grief and complicated feelings for each other when the person who ties them together dies. Cami is a children's book author and illustrator who has been raising her surly teenage daughter Aster on her own ever since her ex-husband Craig abandoned them to start a new life with Rachel. When an unforeseeable tragedy leaves Rachel and Tallulah, Rachel's daughter with Craig, evicted and with no place to go, Cami steps in and offers to put them up in her rundown trailer. Perhaps unsurprisingly, Cami and Rachel's path to friendship is a rough one, what with years of simmering resentment constantly threatening to spill over. Those old tensions are exacerbated when both mothers hit it off with the other's daughter. This already tenuous situation is even further complicated by the secrets that all concerned are hiding. The Rest of Us is propelled by a compassion for all of its characters, even when they behave badly, following them as they learn how to embrace life, how to be loyal, and how to forgive one another and themselves. Throughout the movie, the characters' alliances are constantly changing. First, it's family versus family. Then the daughters are drawn to the other mothers. Then the daughters take off and unite against both mothers, while the mothers bond in their absence. Their alliances change and mutate until they arrive at a new kind of family. You can see The Rest of Us on Hoopla. The next movie is The Keeper, which was produced in 2018 and released in theaters in October of this year. It was directed by Marcus H. Rosenmuller, whose previous credits are mostly German-language films. Lead actor David Cross is also one of the stars of the recent German film Balloon, which was reviewed in our September program. The film is not rated, but it would probably get an R rating for some language and several brief war images. The Keeper tells the incredible true story of Bert Trautmann, a German soldier and prisoner of war who secures the position of goalkeeper at Manchester City, and in doing so becomes a footballing icon. Set against the backdrop of British post-war protest and prejudice, Trautmann's signing causes outrage to thousands of fans, many of them Jewish. But Bert receives unexpected support from Rabbi Alexander Altman, who fled Nazi Germany in 1938 and argued for Bert's acceptance. Another strong advocate is Margaret, the English woman he falls in love with and marries. Eventually, he wins over even his harshest opponents with his athletic skill, and especially by continuing to play after a serious injury to secure victory in the 1956 Football Association Cup final. But fate will soon twist the knife for Bert and Margaret when their love and loyalty to each other is put to the ultimate test. Bert Trautmann was born in 1923 and joined the junior section of the Hitler Youth in 1933. He served as a paratrooper on the Eastern Front for 3 years, earning 5 medals, including an Iron Cross, before being transferred to the Western Front, where he was captured by the British at the end of the war. As a volunteer soldier, he was regarded as a Nazi and was transferred to a prisoner of war camp in Ashton in Makerfield, Lancashire. Trautmann refused an offer of German repatriation and, following his release in 1948, settled in Lancashire. He combined farm work with playing goalkeeper for a local football team, where he earned a reputation as an outstanding goalkeeper, which resulted in interest from Football League clubs. In October 1949, he signed for Manchester City. The club's decision to sign a former Axis paratrooper sparked protests, and 20,000 people attended a demonstration against him. The tagline from the trailer says, "He came as their enemy, but in the face of adversity, he became their hero." But this is not your typical sports hero biopic. Beyond the story of overcoming odds, the film deals with Bert's feelings of guilt as well as questions of choice and complicity. You can watch The Keeper on Canopy. Released in 2020, Misbehaviour was directed by Philippa Lothorpe, an award-winning film and TV director. The movie stars Keira Knightley and Jessie Buckley, with Gugu Mbatha-Raw as Miss Grenada and Greg Kinnear as Bob Hope. In a sensational true story, a group of women hatch a plan to disrupt the 1970 Miss World Beauty competition in London, an event watched by more than 100 million television viewers and which made headlines around the world. Not only that, when order was restored, the first woman of color was crowned Miss World. In a matter of hours, a global audience had witnessed the patriarchy driven from the stage and the Western ideal of beauty turned on its head. In 1970, Sally Alexander was a divorced mother of a young daughter who was applying to study history at the University College of London. Despite skepticism about her ability to attend school while taking care of her child, she was given a place in the program and soon became involved in the women's liberation movement. Although they were also working on problems like equal pay for women, the decision was made to take action during the Miss World pageant. During the event, there were protests by women liberation activists, including the throwing of flower bombs, which momentarily alarmed host Bob Hope, who was also heckled during the proceedings. The film brings up interesting issues around racism as well as sexism. The women's liberation movement's protest was based on the idea that beauty pageants degrade women, but the black contestants saw even their inclusion in the process as a victory for women of color. In the real event, there was controversy before the contest began because the organizers had allowed 2 entries from South Africa, one black and one white. Even greater controversy followed after the announcement that the first black woman had been named Miss World. The BBC and the newspapers received numerous protests from people who thought that Miss Sweden was the rightful winner. There were many accusations that the contest had been rigged, with counter-accusations that the scrutiny of the results was motivated by racism and that favoritism of white contestants had been typical in the contest's history. I especially enjoyed the contemporary footage at the end of the film of the real people portrayed in the movie, as well as their archival photos shown during the credits. Despite the serious subject matter, the film is upbeat and filled with humor. You can find Misbehaviour on Hoopla. A good companion film for Misbehaviour is the documentary RBG, which was produced in 2018 and was directed by Julie Cohen and Betsy West. It was interesting to compare what RBG was doing at the time of the British protests. The movie features interviews with Justice Ginsburg, who was 85 years old at the time of filming, as well as her family, friends, and colleagues. RBG surveys the exceptional life and career of U.S. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who developed a breathtaking legal legacy while becoming an unexpected pop culture icon. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was born in Brooklyn in 1933. She was already married and had a young daughter when she was accepted to Harvard Law School as one of only 9 women in a class that also included over 500 men. Ginsburg spent much of her legal career as an advocate for gender equality and women's rights, winning 5 of the 6 cases she argued before the Supreme Court. She took on cases dealing with small statutes in the law and turned them into all-encompassing arguments for the rights of women. In 1980, she was appointed to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit, where she served until her appointment to the Supreme Court in 1993. Ruth was a reserved person described in the film as polite and quiet, not a firebrand. Despite her quiet manner, in 2013, her tireless fight for gender equality and equal rights under the law earned her the nickname Notorious RBG, and she became a hero for young people in America. The film also showcases her grit and humor, and running through the survey of her legal career and accomplishments is the beautiful love story of Ruth and her beloved husband, Marty. Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away on September 18, 2020, after finally losing her 5th battle with cancer. She was truly an inspiring person, and I recommend that you watch RBG on Hoopla or Canopy. The last film for this month is Storm Boy, an Australian film that was released in 2019 and was directed by Sean Seat. The movie stars Geoffrey Rush, an Australian actor first famous for Shine and later for The King's Speech and the Pirates of the Caribbean series. Finn Little, also Australian and now 14, has been acting since he was 8 years old. Storm Boy is based on a 1964 children's book by Colin Teal and was previously made into a film in 1976. This is the emotional tale of a young boy, nicknamed Storm Boy, growing up on the beautiful but uninhabited coastline of southern Australia, who miraculously rescues and raises 3 orphaned pelicans. When he forms a close bond with them, he finds himself at odds with his fisherman father, and his life takes a new and unexpected turn. Storm Boy has grown up to be Michael Kingley, a successful retired businessman and grandfather. When Kingley starts to see images from his past that he can't explain, he is forced to remember his childhood, and he recounts to his granddaughter the story of the birds, including the extraordinary Mr. Percival. In addition to the pelicans, the movie explores his rich relationships with his father, Hideaway Tom, and an outcast Australian Aboriginal man called Fingerbone Bill. There is also an environmental theme to the story, with a dilemma that Michael solves in a unique and empowering way. On the Friday after Thanksgiving, I would always schedule a feel-good movie suitable for viewers of many ages. As with most animal films, there are heartbreaking moments, but the overall mood is one of love and perseverance. This is a beautiful story about the love between a child and his pet that will appeal to any animal lover, even if you have never had a pelican as a pet. Although we can't show films in the library yet, if I could, I would choose Storm Boy for that special Friday in November. You can watch Storm Boy on Hoopla or Canopy. If you need to download Hoopla and Canopy, go to the library's website at www.smithlib.org, click on Digital Library, and then select Movies and TV. There are links for the Hoopla and Canopy apps, as well as printable instructions and video tutorials. And of course, if you need further assistance, please call us at 631-360-2480, and we'll be happy to help you. Thank you for joining me today. We hope to see you soon. Please continue to visit the library's website at www.smithlib.org for more programs and resources.